Hey guys, it has been a minute since I have done a video, so bear with me. I'm a little rusty. You're gonna want to just make sure you have all your supplies nearby. You're gonna want some kind of jar of water, cup of water for washing your brushes. I have an assortment of different size brushes here. I mean, these are kind of similar. This one's just got a much stiffer bristle. This one's a lot softer. And this one, it's got the curved top. I cannot recall what that's called. I want to say like filbert tip. And these are flat. I do know that. These are flat brushes. If you would like a detail-y brush, you are welcome to use something much smaller for some line work later on. I like to use an edge of a brush like this to get my thinner lines, but everyone has their own preference and way to do things. So whatever works best for you, absolutely go ahead and do. I have paper towels on hand for wiping out my brushes once I clean them after all my colors when I change color. And then I have my paint out on my plate. So I find the easiest way, because your paint comes in the little cups, is just use a butter knife. I scoop it out. This is an extra large cup, but I just like scoop it out with a butter knife and then scrape it kind of off. This is just a plastic one, but you can absolutely use like a real one. It'll wash off. Just don't let it get all crusted in your teeth there. I mean, it'll still come out, but it's a lot easier to rinse it when it's clean, or rinse it while it's still wet. Your cleaning will be a lot easier. All right, let's get started. So I'm working on a slate. I like to put mine down on this so I can move it around, because they're heavy, even just to like get up under. But whatever works. I'm gonna start by just doing all my background, and I'm just gonna use plain black and one of my bigger brushes. If you want to switch around and do some smaller brushes in these smaller areas, feel free. I don't get too bent about it like being super perfect, because I'm gonna go back in with white and get all of my excuse me, petals touched back up. I don't want to get too crazy, but you're just gonna put a nice thin even coat. Don't get all globby. It's super easy to get globby. Just get your paint on there and spread it out. If you want to go all the way to the edge, feel free. If you don't, it's yours. So go ahead and do what you prefer. I'll probably go to the edge, but not like be super crazy about getting every little nook and cranny. So this is all going to be petal for the most part, I do believe. Maybe we can get a little, if our petals end up going over this, that's fine. At least we got our black on there. And petals always get a little wider as I work. Yeah, I didn't need to get all the way in there. Went a little far, that's okay. So honestly, we don't, all these little circles, they're for the centers of the smaller daisies. I started going around them, but I find that it's really kind of tedious. So I'm gonna paint right over those boogers. The placement of them isn't super important, and I got confidence that I'm gonna be able to just put them back in. But if you wanna go around them, again, feel free. If you're worried you won't be able to do it without the lines there, that's perfectly okay. Whew, it is quite warm in here. It's, I don't know what it's out already, but it's like, you know, it's been that hot week, like 90 degrees all week long. I think it's the 19th today. I don't have the air conditioner on in here because I don't want it to be making all the sound in the background. So I'm suffering. I mean, it's not super hot in here, but it stays fairly cool. It's still kind of stuffy though. I'm just getting all my paint spread out nice and thin and even. Lots of little nooks and crannies. So I'm just gonna give this guy a little spin so I can do the other side. Sometimes it's hard to paint these flat because there's so much glare. So if you need to like pick it up or prop it up, feel free. Do it. There's no rules. It's not like I'm gonna know if you kept it flat the whole time. That would be ridiculous. Do be careful. The edges can be a little sharp. All right, I think I got everything. So I'm gonna give that a minute to dry. I don't have my blow dryer over here all plugged in, dang it. That speeds up the drying process, especially with the higher humidity. While that's drying, I'll just go ahead and put like a base coat on the centers. Oh, I see I missed a couple spots here. So a little spot here. Right in here. And this is the bottom. I gotta remember to flip it over. All right, I think I got all my little nooks and crannies. Yes, I'm gonna flip it back around. And I'm gonna do a base coat of like a dark brown color for the centers. We'll go back in and touch it up later on after we get our petals all in. But for now, I'm just gonna get a quick coat. And to make the brown, I mix this burnt orange color in with black. And it's a little, I don't wanna say, it's pretty dark, so there's quite a bit of black to it. But we're kind of striving for a like dark chocolate. So it's, I don't know how true colors are gonna look because, you know, devices, what you'll see on your phone could be completely different than what I see on mine, or if you're on a tablet or on your TV or whatever you're doing. So I just have a nice rich kind of chocolatey brown. It's pretty dark. And I'm gonna get all the centers. Just a quick coat of that. And don't worry if it gets a little wonky, like that one got a little weird. We can fix that up when we paint our petals. I'll just Try to remember to make my petal go in a little bit more when I do the white base coat. So you're like, why are we painting them white? You may be thinking, but we have to do the white first. It's like primer coat. Otherwise, like this yellow is so transparent, it does not show up for beans. I don't even think you could put enough coats on for it to be a nice true yellow. I'll show you real quick. So if you just take this yellow by itself and you put it on, that is yucky. But if you add a little white, it shows up a lot better. So our first coat is gonna be just plain white. So I am going to switch over to a smaller brush for my petals. It's this guy, but if you want to use a bigger one, feel free, or a smaller one. I don't even know what size. I can't even see. I think it's a 6. They get, the handle starts to flake off and stuff. And when I use it, you know, I'm not exactly neat. So a lot of paint gets down on the handles. I don't know why I think I hate this brush. So I do have that stiffer bristle brush. I'm gonna grab that one instead because that's too soft. And I am doing just white. I only have yellow in that one just from the example that I was just showing you how crappy the yellow is if you just use it on its own. You do want to do this part. You have to do this white first. It's like a primer layer. I'm just gonna go around and paint all the petals. I'll probably do 2 or 3 coats just to make sure I don't have streaks. I mean, there'll still be a little bit, but there's always gonna be a brush stroke when you're painting. And nice thin paint, that is important. You do not want big thick globs. You don't need a bunch of paint on your brush. You can always get more. As you start painting more, you'll get a better feel, an understanding of how much paint it takes. And different surfaces too, it does differ, it varies. Like slate is, it's very smooth. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. So it takes less paint, but it's also very porous. So you kind of, it's porous, but smooth. It soaks up the paint, but not big globs. Better to do multiple layers than try to just get good coverage with one. Because overall your painting just looks nicer without all the globbiness. I try to do nice long brush strokes. The more you pick your brush up and lay it down, the more marks it leaves behind. So sometimes, you know, you get it all filled in and then you can kind of go back in and clean it up by just going back and doing a nice long stroke. And make sure you're getting, like if you didn't get the black all the way around the edge and you still see some white from the outline of the drawing, get that covered right up. This white will go right over top of that black. Especially with the background already being so dark, there's not much difference. So you don't see a big change from like putting the white on black. And if you have a little wonky shaped petal, just go right over and like reshape it. You can make a new shape. If you want to get your pencil out to help you, feel free. I'm gonna give this one a little quick once over again. It's always gonna look a little different than the rest, I think. Even once we put the yellow on. But that's okay. So I'm just gonna paint right through this one up here. I'll give that a second to dry. I'll paint a couple more and then I'll get that one done so that it doesn't leave a weird mark. It's still gonna be a little wet and should be able to squish around. So I'll put this one on top of that one. Keep my brush strokes long. Put this one on top of this one. And once we do a few more coats, or at least one more, I'm thinking we're probably gonna need 3 total. Just to be on the safe side. And if you wanted these to all be daisies instead of the yellow, like brown-eyed Susans or sunflowers or whatever you want to think they are, feel free. You could use like a little bit of gray to do your shadows and things when we do like brown. Oh, that petal got a little thicker. That's okay. So be careful while you're working, because if your paint is still a little bit dry, it's like becomes kind of sticky and it'll pull up underneath. You can see a little bit there. It'll pull up the first layer of paint and then it kind of creates a dark spot that's really, really, really hard to get covered like the rest of it. So be patient, let things dry. Don't do thick paint, because then it's really a lot more likely to happen, because you'll hit a spot that's not as, it's uneven. Like you'll have a big blob over there and you'll hit a spot that's not as dry as the rest, and that'll happen. So, and also cannot stress enough how important it is to have thin, even coats of paint. I'm gonna have to rotate this around again soon. I'm having a hard time reaching. gotta twist it. Sometimes like the base of your bristles start to get real full of paint. Just kind of scrape it out. If you want to just reset, just at any time, just get your brush cleaned out. Every once in a while, that's a good idea. Just because your bristles will be so full that it spreads them apart, and then it's harder to have control with them because it gets a lot wider. So, yep, go ahead and clean out your brush once in a while. Makes life a lot easier. I just scrape mine out, but a full washing is probably should have done, but I get lazy sometimes. The other one is driving me bonkers. I made it wider by accident. A lot of traffic on Main Street today. I don't know if you can hear it, but that's all I can hear. I wish I had some music going, but I can't record. And then also Bluetooth my phone to my speaker. The camera doesn't work and letting me play sound as well. I need like a little radio, that'd be cool. There's a little bit of brown kind of stuck down in these little crevices. If you pull a little into your white, that's fine. But if you end up getting a whole bunch, clean your brush out so you don't end up with a really dark petal compared to the rest. You want them all to be relatively the same, or one will stand out like ace or thumb. Alright, now I'm just gonna go back to where I started. Hopefully everything's nice and dry over there. If it's not, we're definitely gonna give it a minute because we don't want to be peeling off our work. So we'll peel it off. I should go get my blow dryer, but if we're dry, I won't worry about it. This one's sticky. I'll need to leave that one alone or it's gonna be a mess. Let's start, how about right here? I find the next few coats go a lot faster. Alright, I'm due for a brush wash. I think it's all gloopy and gross. And actually, it keeps your brushes lasting longer too, because slowly that paint starts to dry up in there, even though you're still using it. And over time, it will push your bristles out. Like, look at this one. They stick out like that because there's paint all dried up down in here. That's really hard to get out. So if you have good habits of keeping your brushes cleaned out while you're working, your brushes will last longer. I don't have the best practices. All right. Nice, fresh, clean brush. Love that. I'm gonna skip this one because I know it's still gooey. I'll go back to it later when I know it's more dry. Alright, let's give her a twist. Oh, let's just leave it like that for a minute. This one looks so long. This one looks stubby. These are kind of stubby. It's okay. Maybe we can adjust it a little. Make that a little longer. He's very stubby. Oh, I already painted that one, didn't I? It's sticky. I gotta get my brush off of there before I mess it up. feel like I need to look at the camera, make sure it's still recording. I'm having flashbacks of last time I was doing videos during COVID, and like something would happen where it would just stop. Like there wasn't enough space, or then someone would call me, or my battery would go too low. So I just gotta double check. Oh yeah, we're good. We're almost 42 minutes in. We're doing a fine job. Okay, let's give this guy here, make sure he's dry. And I'm gonna do one more coat and I'll call it good. Ooh, I almost gave myself a paper cut. Ugh, gives me the heaves just thinking about it. That's one wet. I can't tell. Yeah. Yes. I find this to be quite relaxing when we're just doing like the same thing for quite a while. I just zone out. Thank goodness, because I hate it when I find myself rambling on about nothing in these videos. Honestly, I don't even watch them back because if I did, I would never get them posted. I wouldn't be able to share because I don't want to hear myself. Yuck. Now, once you finish this coat, if you feel that you do need another coat, absolutely. And if you were happy with it after 2 coats, that's fine too. You can feel free to move ahead at any time. It's the beauty of video. You can pause me, skip over stuff, go back. Oh, almost knocked my water.
That's a lot of paint.
All right, we're gonna give that some time to dry. Meanwhile, we will kind of figure out where our little, well, if you went around your daisies, you don't need to figure out where they're gonna go. The little white flowers that are kind of scattered, filling in the gaps. I think I'm upside down. Oof. There we go. We're going the right way now. Let's see here. So I'm just gonna take a really dark brown, like the center color. Look at how dark, it looks so black once it's dry. Excuse me, why didn't I get a little square brush? That was silly of me. Do I have one? Oh, yeah, I do. So I've got this little square flat brush here. And I'm gonna take that dark brown color. And I'm just gonna do this just so that I kind of have a place to put my petals to. Otherwise it can get, it's nice to have a central point to focus on when you do your petals. So I don't know, let's maybe get one here. Maybe I want to add a little more of the orange to my color. So I want to be able to see it some. And maybe just a touch of white. Yeah, there we go. So it was the burnt orange, black made this dark brown, and then I added just a little bit of white in. And the color, I don't care what color it is. It's just something, a guide, if you will, something we can look at to know where we're going to be placing our petals. Maybe we can stick one right here. You just got to keep in mind that you want room for petals. So this one's got petals, this one all petals. You want to have enough distance between them where they're not getting too crowded. Maybe I have this upside down. I don't even know. I feel like this big one should be on top. Not that it matters. Currently, I'll leave it as. Once I start making it more detail-y, I'll flip it the way I want it to go. Okay. Let's see. Here, here. I don't want to get too crazy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 in that little nook. Maybe I'll stick one up here. Sure, why not? I'll add his petals in later. Right in here. I feel like I want one like here. I'll put a little one. This hole is gonna kind of be a bugger as far as petals go. So maybe here. So most of the petal isn't in the hole. Here. And we can always add a few in if we need to. Get our flipped around so I can reach. Okay, so let's see. Let's get one in. Maybe that's gonna fill in here. Missing a little corner. It's okay. It gives it character. And I can always add more in later if I feel like I've got like a dead space. So now I'm gonna switch over to this brush that has like this curved top. If you don't have one, that's fine. A small brush will still work. I'll show you kind of how I'm gonna do this. I need to find something dark so you can see on it. Oh, what do I have around it? Kind of dark. Nothing convenient, of course. What's this? Yeah, I got this flaky canvas. So let me put, so I have this. I'll just, ouch. Set that aside for a second. I'm just gonna show you how to do the petals, and absolutely practice before you just go right in on your slate. So I'll just do a little, like pretend that's the center that we just did in the brown. So with this brush, and then I tip it on, I load it up with the paint, maybe not that much. You'll get a feel for it the more you do it. And I put it kind of on its edge up and down, and the outside of the petal, the widest part, I push down and I go towards the center. And every time you do a petal, you're gonna need to get more paint, kind of get it flat again, and you'll go in again. And my bristles are very soft, so I have to every time get it reshaped. So you wanna start with the flat brush, and then you can push from the side and go towards the center. And this one might even be a little big. I have a smaller one where the tip is a little smaller. This one's not as nice, but maybe it'll be less squishy. And the smaller brush is gonna make a smaller, which yeah, I'll need the smaller size for sure. But you just push down and go towards the center. And honestly, go right into the center, because we're gonna like repaint them anyway, or get really close. So center. Yeah, we can always fix our centers. They are just there as like a marker, so we have a central point to push our petals into. I think it's just easier that way. I mean, that way you have like a central point to go into, which that still works, whatever you want to do. I mean, obviously at this point you've probably already done the circles, but we'll go back in anyway later on, and we're gonna tidy up our circles, our little centers of our flowers. So one more time I'll show you. Here's your center of your flower. From the outside of the petal, the widest part, you go in, you push down on the edge of your brush, and you go towards center. And you kind of lift up as you are getting close. And if you end up with like a weird one, that's okay. Nature isn't perfect. Or maybe you get one that's like this or something, and you're like, oh man, you can always like go in and like reshape it. And if you want to just paint like little ovals like this, you want to go in and paint each and every petal, you can do that too. I just find it's a lot faster to just go in like this. There's a flower. Boop. And the amount of petals doesn't matter. If you want to squeeze in a whole bunch and have them really, really like full, that's fine. If you want them more spaced out, that is also fine. That one's a little weird, but you know what? Once we put the center in, not that big of a deal. Can always go back over top of these petals and kind of give them a little reshaping. All right, so there's flower listen. Now I'm gonna go in and actually paint them. Ouch, this is so sharp. Okay. Oh, I really can't do this yet, can I? Nope. Can't do petals yet, because some of them are gonna overlap onto the big flowers. Dang it. We need to have our petals done on our big flowers at this point before we can overlap. So, let's go and paint more petals on the big flowers. This time we're gonna get them the shades we want them. We're gonna do our yellow. So the amount of like brightness you want your yellow to be is up to you. You can tone it down by just adding a little water in. I don't know why I picked that brush. This one, the blue handle, I seem to like better. You can tone it down by adding a little white into it. That's what I'm gonna do, because I do not care for it, this super, super bright color. It's still gonna be pretty bright, even with white mixed in. I'm gonna make sure I have enough mixed up. And you could even add like a little spot of orange into it if you want. Whatever you wanna do. The orange tends to get a little peachy though, when you get a lot of white into it. All right, I think I like that. Now my brush is super loaded up with paint. I'm just gonna start nice and fresh with a nice clean brush, because it's just easier that way. I'm gonna go in and fill in all of my petals. Yellow now. Now that white, we have that as our primer. So this coat, we should only need one, possibly two. Just if you don't add any white into yours, you might need a couple. But if you just use straight yellow, like I showed you, it's very transparent. If you have dark spots in your petals, if you use straight yellow, they are going to show through. If you add a little white, you can get them to be a little less noticeable. Just a heads up on that. So I'm just gonna go in and get these all filled in. Yeah, I feel like just this, did I start where I was a little wet still? I feel like this one's a little wet. Of course I did. All right, I'm gonna flip this booger around and start down there, because it's not all the way dry. That's better. And if you go on the lines a little bit, that's okay. You can wipe it off with your finger, grab a clean spotted paper towel. If it's a big old glob, definitely get it wiped off. And if you still see more than you'd like of it, just hit it with the black, because we painted our background black. So that's easy enough to cover up. Make sure you're getting all that white covered. You don't want white showing. This will take a minute. If you have a little bit, that's fine, because we are going to add like some loose, quick, like little white outline highlighty things. My eyes are very dry. I feel like it's humid. My eyes should not be dry. I think I'm just tired. I got up way earlier than I usually do, and still went to bed about the same time I usually do. Sometimes I just wake up and can't get back to sleep, so we roll with it. Packed a lunch before I came, trying to be, you know, proactive, thinking ahead. You know, you always get hungry when you're over there at the studio. packed it and got to doing something else. And I was like, oh, I better just stick that in the fridge until I'm ready to go. Guess where it still is? In the fridge. Dang it. It's not like I live far, but I don't want to have to stop what I'm doing to go grab it. But I probably will. So it's stupid to spend money on ordering out when it's just a quick lunch. It's just to keep me from my belly eating itself. And if I haven't mentioned it in a while, make sure your paint is thin. You don't want globs. I cannot stress this enough.
don't love that. I'll have to do a little touch up. Maybe by the time I get my petals of my this little guy filled in, that mark should be gone. Cover it right up. Okay, now I'm gonna put one more coat on unless I start and it doesn't seem to make a difference. So
If I do and it makes a difference, I'll carry on. Otherwise, I'm gonna call it. Shower dry. Yeah, one more coat. Dang it. How many coats we have on these petals total already? 3 white, 2 yellow, 5. Cool. We'll be painting these with our eyes closed. I might run out of paint. Nah. Dang it. I was doing pretty good. Yeah, that guy's gonna need a little touch up with the black. It's driving me crazy. I don't know what all of a sudden is happening. Maybe my brush needs to be cleaned out. I'm getting fat. Sometimes it does get harder to control. I feel like I need to get my readers on. My eyes are, because I'm tired. My eyes have a much harder time focusing these days. How do I have crap all over my fingers already? Like, how's this even happen? I think I still have those 2 to do. Okay, that's better. I need to find what I did with those readers. I think I would be much happier if I could see a little better. Okay, before I move on to this one, I am going to mix up more color just because I'm not going to get through them. And this way, if it's not quite exactly the same, it won't be a big deal because it'll be on a whole different flower. All right. I'm going to go grab my readers, maybe if I can find them. They'll be right back. Carry on painting. Oh, that was ridiculously easy. They were right where I thought they were. Let's see. Is this going to help me? Ugh. God. I don't know. It's going to take an adjustment period, I think. I have crap everywhere. Everything is like way too big now. Glasses take a minute to adjust. Okay. This one still feels a little wet. Dang it. I need the blow dryer now. All right, brace yourself, because it's going to get kind of loud when I get this guy going. Almost getting plugged into my little strip here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. There we go. Ooh. Hopefully I'm not moving around. Let me make sure my view is still pretty good. Yeah, seems like it. Okay. I'm working on my second coat of yellow still, in case you wandered off as well. Did I paint this one already? I don't even know. No, I did not. I wish I knew how to edit video, because I could stand a break right now, but I don't know how to edit, so I just one continuously long video, and if I disappear, that's like you have to fast forward. I guess that wouldn't hurt anything. Give you a minute to catch up, I suppose. I'll go as long as I can without leaving my eyes to uncross. Sure, I could learn how to like cut things out of a video. I feel like I've done stuff using, like, because I have an iPhone, I've used iMovie, and it messes up the orientation. Because I use my cell phone, which, I don't know, it tries to make it like horizontal view instead of vertical view. And it's like, no, because then it crops out part of what I'm doing. So I don't know. I wonder if I could just go into my photos and just like take a chunk out. I don't think so. I think all I know how to do is like create a clip, or like remove from the beginning or the end. I don't know how to just remove a piece from the middle.
Be nice to learn how to do that. Any pointers, anyone? Anyone know how to do such things? I'm sure there's an app outside of just what came on my phone. I just need to know what one. Because I'm persistent. I'll figure one out so long as it's going to do what I want it to do. That's what's super frustrating. Is like you dig around in an app or something, and with a specific goal in mind, you want to do this or that. And then come to find out that it's not even capable of doing what you want it to do. Or once you do get it to do what you want it to do, it doesn't look how you want it to look. Like the iMovie, I don't know how to change it or keep it from changing the orientation. Because that one's pretty, like I can handle that, working in that little program. But it crops out important parts of what I'm doing. Y'all need to be able to see what I'm doing, and if the video I put for you guys to watch to learn visibly doesn't show you, that's no good. I just want an editor. Somebody edit my videos for me, please. I don't have enough time to do all of the things. I can't pay you, though. You'll have to be like pro bono, volunteer work. Maybe you need practice. Let me know. I will let you edit my videos. Okay, finally got us all slapped on there. Fabulous. Let's get it turned around. I think that's right. I'm gonna just set it up so I can look at it straight up and down. Yeah, okay. Well, don't take that way. I'm gonna go back in, fix my middles, and we use the black and brown. I'm gonna make them a little lighter because not against the black, it just looks like black. So more orange in it this time, and just the teeniest dab of white. Boop. So we're still pretty dark, but we should be able to at least be able to tell that it's brown. And I'm gonna kind of be messy on my edge here where the petals meet, because the insides of sunflowers are not like crispy, perfect circles. I'm just gonna wiggle my brush. Make sure I do get like white bits covered that I didn't get covered. I'm using one of the bigger brushes that I have over here. This is the one that has the softer bristles. It's easier to do the little wiggly edge with this one. Now my stiffer bristle brush, that's fun to say, is really nice in the sense that it doesn't really let you leave a bunch of gobs, because the bristles kind of like almost take the paint off as you're trying to put it on. I love it. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There is a fly in here, and it keeps landing on my toe. It's very annoying. Just cleaning up the edges of the center like makes a world of difference. Like it looks looking so much better just not having that rough raw edge. Okie dokie. So now I'm gonna go back to my petals. While that dries a minute, I'm gonna give my petals a quick blast with the blow dryer just to make sure they're nice and dry. Okie doke. So we are going to use that burnt orange color a little bit. This guy right here. And I'm gonna go in with the edge, probably of my, not the stiff one, but I like to use, this is where you might want to use like a long skinnier brush to kind of do some lines. I like a bigger brush because one, it holds more paint, which is, yeah, that's pretty much the only reason. I'm just getting it cleaned out. Okay, so it's nice and clean and flat. See how flat it is? And this is going to give me a nice thin line. I'm going to use it like this. I'm just going to grab some of this burnt orange color. Give me a nice clean little spot. I get it on my bristles. I press it flat so it's still nice and thin. I don't know. Where are you? Right there? Probably out of focus. Who knows? I don't know. And I'm going to just come in and put like some little lines in there like this. They're not all the same length. Like, and they kind of curve a little on the outside, more straight in the middle. I'm gonna add a little bit of water in because this paint has been sitting here a little while. And it just goes on a little bit smoother if it's a little bit thinner. Yeah, I wish I'd done that earlier. With the water, makes it a lot easier. So I do kind of quick. It's not like perfect, pristine. It's very loose. Now, usually by the time I get rolling, the whole style of what I'm doing changes. So I'm just trying to go back and kind of get them all to look semi-similar. Go over here. I feel like we got a little longer. Look closer to the middle. Same on all of them. I should rotate this around. It would be easier. It's hurting my back to stretch over like this. Alright, rotating. Can't do it anymore. This over here is a little hairy. Okay, and now we're gonna add some white on, doing the same thing. Make this real loose. Just plain white. I will probably stir a little bit of water in. Make sure I get my brush cleaned out nice. And don't worry that your water is a little miscolored. It's okay. It's not gonna put enough tint to your paint that it's gonna even be noticeable. Brush it out. And let's start here. Maybe got a little too much water in this guy. That one is so stubby, it's funny. I'm gonna be careful. Once in a while, I push down too far or hard. So if you push, even though your bristles are thin and you've got it pressed out nice, if you push down too hard, your line will be fatter. Okay, next we'll work on our centers again, and I'm gonna add white into the brown that I made, and the brown again was burnt orange black. I added a little bit more burnt orange to my black earlier, remember, so that my centers weren't quite so dark. And then I'm just gonna kind of dab in like a circle-y. And I do have quite a bit of paint on my brush. So there's that one. And my centers could have been a little bigger, but we don't care. Maybe we'll get it to the edge a little bit more though. We can always put a little more dark in the middle. Yeah, this guy. Copy this guy a little bit more than that guy. I'm gonna get closer to the edge this time. And it's the same kind of wiggly edge. Dab, dab, dab. I have more paint on my brush. There, the hole's a little bigger. It's not really a hole, but the center. And then, excuse me, I'm gonna fix this one. So closer to the edge. Bigger center, that's the best one I've done so far. I'll just clean out my brush and I'm gonna make a dark brown again. And if it doesn't match exactly, that's okay. So black and this burnt orange color. And I think I added just a touch of white the first time around. Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be exactly the same, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna kind of layer over this to get that. I'm gonna have to get that to dry more, but this one. I just feel like that circle should be bigger. That one, I just want it to match the rest, so even though I like the size of it, there. I'm gonna let this dry. With a little bit more of this dark brown. It's not perfectly dry. I just won't press really hard so I don't peel paint off. I got glare going on. I can't really see. We're gonna assume all is well. Okay. I don't hate that, I don't think. And then I'm gonna add some more orange into this lighter color that I had made. And I'm just gonna kind of dab around. I mean, not as aggressively as the first time. leaving some of the lighter brown show some. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to play around till you like it. Just kind of a little more dark brown. I can't see that one. And I switched to a smaller brush, and I'm gonna just dab in a little bit of white while everything's still wet. So I've got this like smaller little flat brush, and I'll just use plain white. And I'm just gonna dab it in a little bit, kind of all around. But in this like kind of circle-y area. I'll soften my dabs a little. So it's still kind of in this circle shape that we started with, like the ring. I'm gonna go on over it a little bit here and there just to tone it down. So my paint is still wet, so it will blend in if you keep poking at it some. It'll blend better. A little bit more on this one. So I'll get some on there. And then I'm gonna go back in and keep dabbing on it to get it to soften. You can like twist your brush in like a little spiral motion to help get it to blend some. How's it looking? I don't know. I can't see it. I'm going to have to lift it up because at this angle, I can see this one a little bit mostly, but there's still a lot of glare. I like it straight up and down in front of me. Oh, yes, that's good. I like it. All right, now we can for real do those little white petals on all those daisies, like I was talking about before. I feel like these need like a little bit of this orange. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm gonna add some of that in there. It's just that burnt orange color. My brush is a little dirty, but it's okay. I'm just gonna dab in a little bit of this here and there, just to help tie that in, because I feel like that's nowhere else, and it needs to be somewhere else. Yeah, I like that better. Petal time. So back to this little demo board here with the I showed you how to do it. It just was occurred to me while I was painting that I never really showed you how to do it if you didn't have the the rounded tip brush. So here I have the square one. It works fairly decent with the square brush as long as it's little. So let's show you with a bigger square brush. I have this one. You don't really get the bigger the top shape, but you can always like double them up. Push really hard, apparently that works. I have a lot of water in my bristles and it dry my brush out super great. But you could still do it. This actually worked a lot better after I got rid of all that water. Or like I said before, use a smaller brush and just paint your little oval shapes. Or you can create your flower and then from there create the shapes. So now you kind of have like a guide. This is like you make an asterisk, plus sign with a star or an X with a plus, and then you can have a little bit of a guide, and you can go back in and reshape if you need to. Okay, I'm gonna get to it on my thing, and it's gonna put a bunch of petals on all those little brown spots. Where'd I put my brush? I need to get this little guy, didn't I? And it's just white paint, nothing fancy. Let me find a spot. Get it over here so I don't have to pay attention. Oh, I don't want that to get out. All right. So we're gonna really load them up in here. Well, the petals, I don't know. There might be like 7 petals per little flower. So remember, it's outside in. And we're gonna fix up those centers. We're not gonna really be too hard pressed to keep them looking perfect. One had 10. I could be a little gappier though. They don't need to be that full. Whatever you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we got 8 on that one. I feel like that one has to be a little longer though. See, you can always kind of go back over top, and I will do a second coat, like quick once back over, once these are all dry, just so that they're nice and solid, or at least more solid. They're not gonna be perfect. The whole style of them is to be like loose and wispy. And once in a while, again, you're gonna want to go back in and clean this bugger out. Your brush fills fast. Once your petals start getting a little fatter than you're happy with, just make sure that you double check that Your bristles aren't full of paint. Let's bring these guys in a little bit more. There. Spin it around. I think I need maybe a petal or two, kind of coming off the edge over here, over here. Okay, I'm gonna flip it around and do a quick second coat on top of these ones. They're pretty dry. If they aren't, then I'll hit them with the blow dryer. More white. This one is so cute. I love these little white flowers too. I feel like it's just not as cute without these little filler flowers in all the spaces. It's my favorite part of it. Oh, I ended up getting yellow on my brush. I'll just stir it in so I can barely see. And just bouncing around all over the place. Then once we get all these little white petals on, we're gonna just jazz up the centers real quick and we're done. This one's a little time consuming because we have a lot of layers of paint when we're doing all these petals on the bigger flowers. But it's not a hard one. Oh, I already did that one. This guy. See if I can. Heaven forbid I just get another squirt of paint. It's literally sitting a foot away from me. Instead, I'm gonna dig through this little pile of garbage white on my plate. I wonder how long I've been going at this, really. I should look and see that the videos here instead of going. I should do this a little more often. Oh, we're at 2 hours. That's not so bad. Just a little past 2 hours. That's about what it takes in class. All right, center time. So dirty white is fine on the some yellow that we used that had some white mixed in. And maybe just a touch of some orange. Maybe pull in a little bit more of the yellow so it's not as like desaturated by the white. You want it to be a little bit more vibrant. And I'm just gonna kind of dab it on the dark brown bit. Probably gonna need to do another quick coat so we can see it, or add a little bit more white. That's what I'll do. A little bit there. Just dabbing it on. This might be a little too fluffy of a brush, but it's working. And you can do second coat if you need to. This kind of depends on how much white you ended up getting in your yellowy color that you made for this. Oh, it's fun. I like it. I can almost reach this one. I gotta add dark brown to that guy. He needs to be dark first before I can make him stand out. So a little dark brown. It's not exact, it's fine. Oh, that's almost black, for crying out loud. So, there, that's a little better. Just so cute. I love this. I'll blow that dry. And same little dabbies as the rest of them. Just boop, boop, boops. Love it. And that's all. I'm gonna set it up right just to give it a once over so I can see if it needs anything. But I think it's pretty cute. Yeah. I might, not just being nitpicky, just kind of go in and just do any tidying up on my black background if I got like a little splotch or whatever. Or if you get too much of the orange or you want to tone down your orange, you can hit it with some of your yellow color. It is, I'll show you what that's like if you do that. I'm not gonna like sit here and do the whole thing, but if you wanted to add a little, I'm just using the color I dabbed on. You can kind of go over some of your orange if you're like, ooh, like it doesn't cover it completely. Like you see it, but it tones it down. Like if you feel like it's a little aggressive here and there, you can kind of tone it down. So yeah, there's lots of different little things you can go in and give it little your final tweaks. If you think something else would look better somewhere else, feel free to do that. This is your painting, and honestly the only way you're gonna know if you like it or not is to give it a try. If you don't like something you do, just make sure you have like all the globs smoothed out, and you can go back in when it's dry and paint over it. So if you need to block it out because it's showing through the color that you want to put on top, remember the white helps block things out. And also sometimes it'll be too much of a difference. So if I tried to, for instance, wanted to be like, oh, this black spot shouldn't be there, if I cover that in white, it's gonna be maybe too much difference. So sometimes you can use gray. That's not a good example because gray, white should work fine there, but a gray would work as well. But if there's a lot of contrast on the edges of something, you can help kind of minimize the contrast using a gray to block out things you don't like, and then give everything around it kind of a little, what am I doing? I'm just rambling at this point and adding stuff. I kind of like that though. Dang it, now I gotta do it. I'm not gonna make the video much longer because you don't need to watch me do this. I literally just took the same color as the centers of my daisies and then kind of blending it in the middle, kind of radiating it out. It softens it. I like it. Oops. But yeah, you can go in and add all kinds of different things to it if you want. If you want, I don't know, maybe a more outlined edge, you can take a little bit of this, maybe one of these colors around the edge. Whatever floats your boat. All right, I'm calling it. Carry on with what you're doing. Take your time. I hope you enjoyed the process. Goodbye.